Welcome everybody to the Papi and Chulo show. I am Papi.
And I am Chulo.
Chulo, today we have an awesome topic, man. It seems like we're dressed to impress today. What's the occasion, would you say?
Well, you know, if we're going to go out and impress the ladies, we got to be in our top-notch gear over here, man. Come on. But then again, this is almost like the everyday dress. This is actually my pajama, dude. That's how I dress every day. So
you're like from that guy, How I Met Your Mother, where he sleeps with the pajamas. Yeah. So it looks like a suit as well.
Exactly.
Shirt and tie.
Exactly.
Barney, yeah. Yeah, my man. Yeah, so today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, dating 101. Just broad generalities of our experiences, what we know about it. We, by all means, are no experts on it, but we've put our efforts to research, hear the feedbacks from some ladies, and we are in two different scenarios. Me being a single bachelor, still available, like long walks on the beach, and my buddy Chulo here, married man who, as far as I know, you're still dating for the rest of your life now, right?
I date my wife every day, man. I got to try to impress her and bring her flowers whenever I can.
That, but then, yeah, I guess you would say you date her every day.
I do, yeah.
Constantly trying to win her over every day, yeah.
It's a nonstop thing, dude. And I kid you not when they say that you really have to put yourself in the backseat position when it comes to her feelings, but always be the leader. It's a weird thing, but we can get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, the one unique thing that I'm sure some of the fans would like to hear is now how specifically for a date night, like what is different about that now that you're married, and what are things that you do? Because is it usually just a typical dinner night out, or do you try to find creative things different from the usual to entertain each other?
Well, yeah. There's daily dates. You know, there's things that we do together, but then there's the set in stone. I still ask her out on a date, and she still gets all giddy, which is the most adorable thing ever. So, yeah,
that is awesome, man.
Yeah.
And for our date with each other and the fans, I brought a little wine here, a little white wine. I will open this eventually, but I was hoping that just to get the crowd going and just to show the crowd what it's like to ask a person out, we should just go ahead and act it out, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. I am a bit rusty, so give me a little bit of grace, you know.
All right, my man. I'm gonna have you go first, and just to help you at least visualize things better, I have a couple little props here to help you. Treat me like the best lady out there. Okay?
Let's hear it.
So just to help you out a bit, little thing around the neck. Okay. All right. Just to help you out, little necklace right here. Okay. Looking fabulous so far. And, just because things are blowing constantly in my face, and because I'm such a snazzy, classy lady, Okay. Woo me, sir.
I didn't realize we were in the 1920s, but okay, let's do this.
There we go. Let's say we are in one of those 1920s annual gatherings that a lot of cities are doing these days. I know in Pittsburgh, they're doing whether it's the Great Gatsby event where people dress up according to that attire.
Okay.
Which is So a Great Gatsby annual event. Totally people you haven't met in your life before. It's just you going solo because you're a baller.
Okay, hold on.
How would you approach me? I'm waiting. Oh, okay.
Oh,
that's a no over here.
Hold on. Things falling apart. I can't get it over the headphones.
Oh, man.
All right, hold on. Here.
Very fitting, very fitting.
So I see you across the room. Got my drink in my hand. Walk over to the bar. Hello, my dear. How's your drink today?
Hello. Oh, good. Thank you.
Okay. What brings you out tonight?
Oh, it's just the events, the dancing. Yeah.
You like to go out dancing frequently?
Yeah, I love dancing. Do you?
I love it. Maybe I can show you a few dance moves.
Ooh. Does it go that easy, ladies and gentlemen?
No,
No,
it
it
don't.
does not. No, it does not. If anything, the girl might be mean. That's like a strategy I hear, be mean because you're testing him out, seeing if he has confidence, which I personally think is a load of BS. But
Yeah.
women be shopping, as the great movie Coming to America says. Women be shopping. Can't stop a woman from shopping. Do you remember that part?
I don't think I've ever watched that movie.
Oh my gosh, you kids, man. Anywho, that's for a more older crowd that will totally laugh at that joke. All right, man. Thanks for going along with that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. A man does like to dress up time to time. So, are you familiar with any other podcasts that talk about the dating world? And
There are a lot of podcasts that talk about dating, but from different perspectives. You obviously have
you're more familiar with this because you come from this world, right?
from the podcasting world. Yeah. So one of my jobs is to keep up with what's going on in the podcasting sphere. So you have a lot of dating podcasts. There's some that are very sexualized. There are some that are from the perspective of women, and then there are some that are perspective from men. I will say I'm more familiar with the ones from men. So a couple of that come to mind off the top of my head, Fresh and Fit being one of them, and then the other, of course, being the Whatever podcast. So very in your face about dating, but man, some of this dating world is strange nowadays. So what about you? Which podcast are you familiar with?
I've heard names, but the one that I'm mainly familiar with, more so because some of the YouTubers, podcasters that I like were invited as guests, which props to them. I'm referring to the Whatever podcast. I don't know their exact mission statement or what they like to, what their main function is, but
Yeah.
I've seen them mainly have modern alpha dominant men who are rather children, to be honest with you, from my perspective.
Yeah.
Debating, arguing, or sometimes just conversing with what I would say post-feminist, living my best life, YOLO, power-hungry women.
And a lot of these do pornography on OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, yeah. And that's what I mean by living their best life.
Yeah.
Which, when you get the smarter ones, I do give them props because if you follow, they're at least being intellectually honest with their ideology, where instead of saying, oh, I'm not looking for marriage. I'm not looking for ended up with children. So I'm just living my best life, me, versus them saying, oh, I am aiming for that. And I want this family life, just children. But it's okay for me to do side hustle in the meantime, which I would say that's kind of
detrimental to any relationship. So
yeah, if we had to define dating, this is what I found on the internet. And I wanted to look just straight up Google because I didn't want no religious definition, no traditional definition, no historical poetic definition. I wanted Google. And I saw one of the first ones was dating means different things to different people, particularly across generations. That was a key one. At the loveisrespect.org website, they define it as two people in an intimate relationship. The relationship may be sexual, but it does not have to be. It may be serious or casual, straight or gay, monogamous or open, short or long-term. Man, haven't times changed? What is the difference between dating and relationships? Well, in dating, there's no commitment. You have other priorities. In relationships, your partner is your top priority, which I wouldn't say in a relationship your partner needs to be top priority, but it's definitely one of them. So I would agree with some part of that. Then we got, I know as I was looking this up, I was like, but there's so much more that I've heard along the way. There's so many different dating levels. And I admit, it is so tempting to fall into any of these levels as well.
Yep.
Because we live in such a YOLO environment. YOLO is such a disease, I would say. You only live once, so you're constantly looking for the next best thing, even though you may have something good in front of you. So because of this, you have levels of, I'm not dating, I'm just seeing him. or I'm in an open relationship, or I literally just learned of this one. This is definitely like a Generation Z or whatever millennial thing that has popped up. I'm I'm in a situationship. Have you ever heard that, dude?
Yeah, I have. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that because I remember when MySpace first started and we started going through MySpace. One of the things was on there your relationship status, and then when everybody graduated to Facebook, I mean Instagram doesn't have it, but Facebook, it went from in a relationship, single, divorced, widowed. It's complicated was one of the big ones, and I don't know if there's any more options, but one of the things that the youngins say nowadays, since we're of the millennial generation, it's a situationship because nobody wants to define exactly what they are, but maybe they're hooking up with each other, maybe they're involved romantically in some way, but they don't want the labels because they don't want to be tied down to anything or any responsibility. Unfortunately,
it's the residual effect of the YOLO movement.
Yep.
Within a person. And then lastly, when you finally are willing to say you're together, then you start using terms such as dating exclusively. Now, I have heard from, I did read in a book from a celibate male friar who has counseled many and many single men and women. And he did say that it's quite okay and healthy to date around, and not until you're engaged to somebody where you're saying that you're intimately looking at seeing a future with that person, or would it be unfair? But in the meantime, it's quite okay. Of course, as things are getting more serious in the dating relationship, you would hope that, the person starts minimizing or cutting that off completely. So that's that. Now, here's one thing that I know for sure you're familiar with. Courting. Now, I don't even think people even know what that means anymore.
Not in the popular world, of course not.
Not in the secular world.
Yeah.
Now, what we mean by secular, we're saying like the modern street knowledge. So secular, that's what, when we say secular, that's what we mean. Modern street knowledge, general population knowledge. So what to you, what is courting?
Courting is being intentional about looking to see if a person is spouse worthy, to see if you're actually looking to eventually get married to this person. But it's not like dating in the sense that you go out and it tends to be a little more casual, but it tends to be more intentional.
I don't know. Are you here for a casual thing or a serious thing, Chulo?
Well, if I'm courting you, I would say I'm here for a serious thing. If I'm dating you, well, we're hanging out, we're having fun.
Wait, you talk to other co-hosts? What?
Yeah, I mean, hey, don't tell me about cheating. Over here, Papi. I know you have another. I know there's another one in your life.
She means nothing to me. She it's not even the same zip code. They're not even the same country, man. She's in Peru.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we associate the color blue to ours, and yours is all. I see all the red marketing over here with them. I just don't know what to say.
You weren't there. Yeah, bro. So when I looked it up again, Google just basic definition. It's more serious and traditional. Is the way they describe it. Getting to know your partner with the expectation of marriage as the end goal. Sure. Definitely weeds out practices such as casual dating, hooking up, or short-term relationships. Because I know in dating profiles, you're even able to put looking for a short-term relationship, which is very telling of a person. And then what's even more unique, which I would say we've been able to witness in our neck of the woods, is our Christian courtships. I don't know much about Muslim or other cultural courtships, but at least in the Christian world, the end goal is God. And if you are partners for life, you would want that your partner be the person that helps you the most get towards God. So wanting the best for you. Love is not just accepting you entirely, but also calling you out when you are in error, stuff like that. Would you agree?
100%. You know what? The visual that comes to mind is maybe jumping back to the 1920s as we were doing a reenactment earlier,
You need me to
was
put the stuff back on? Or
you can leave it off right now. Maybe
I could. No,
maybe the pearls. Maybe you can throw on the pearls. That might actually look kind of nice on you. But
if it helps, there you go.
I imagine a young kid, a young gentleman going up to the front door of the house, knocking on the door. The father coming to the door. Hello, sir. I come to spend some time with Gertrude.
Gertrude, beautiful romantic name.
And he says, "All right, no going out because there's no chaperone available." So he lets you sit outside as she comes out, like a damsel in her skirt, and a long skirt that covers all the way down to her ankles.
Below the knees, yep,
of course,
yep,
yes. Yep. And you sit in the back of at the back of the truck as the father is sitting by the window, holding either a whiskey glass with a shotgun on the side or a cigar and a shotgun by the side, making sure that nothing happens to his innocent, precious young daughter. That's what I imagine when I think of courtship.
Now, this is an exaggerated example, but there's always those few events where I'm sure that has happened. I know Italy has this beautiful tradition. It may even happen still in some pueblos in the rural parts of Italy. They have this tradition that when somebody is courting a lady, they obviously ask for the parental approval of the lady. And then when they go on their first date for, like, let's say a walk, chaperoned, but by the whole community, the whole town comes out. And they're kind of within earshot of them, but they're all behind them as they're walking through the rural roads. And you're allowed to hold hands and all that. But I don't know how long that happens in the courtship, but that was pretty darn awesome, I would say. It's so beautiful. It's testimony to when I heard when you marry, you do marry their family as well.
Yeah.
And in a broader sense, at least I know from Jewish culture, you marry their kin. It's like a whole mixing of bloods between two families.
Yeah. I would say it really is very traditional, because I remember even talking to my parents and them talking about dating, and it was the weirdest thing, because apparently my father didn't even ask my mom to marry. My father ended up having to say that he wanted to marry my mom. So he told his dad, and his dad told my mom's dad, went up to my mom's dad. They had a conversation about marrying these two off, and there was a mutual agreement, and then they were able to marry, which is the weirdest thing. There was a sense of courtship, and then when the courtship was done, my dad was able to show that he was able to provide for his wife, to bring her on as his wife. The fathers talked to each other, they came to an agreement, and my dad was able to marry my mom. It's the weirdest thing.
Dude, that's awesome and unique. My dad, I'm almost a little envious of how things were in the past. One could even say it's much simpler and much more real. My dad met my mom at a friend's birthday party, I believe, and they danced. They got each other's number. They only talked to each other every other 2 weeks. And if they could meet up every other 2 weeks, they would. But just imagine like a whole 2 weeks going before you get to talk to her again on the phone.
Yeah.
On the phone, because she was going to school and he was working his butt off at a factory in the city of Lima. And I would say that that's what really fosters like true romance right there, because
the mystery,
because you have to wait.
Yeah,
you have to wait.
Yeah, my parents, when they first started talking, my dad was here in the U.S., my mom was in Mexico, so the only form of communication was letter. So my mom said that they had letters that they would get. My mom would get a letter from my dad once a month, because traveling from from California to central Mexico, it took a while to get there. So it really builds a sense of this mystery, this romance, this we tend to romanticize things. I mean, you hear about people romanticizing war before there were cameras, so before you were able to see what war was like. But can you imagine actual romance and how bad that was romanticized? We see movies and stuff like that are like this idealistic world. So we still have that today, but it just looks very different because you're able to communicate with anybody at any time. And I think it kills a little bit of that.
it is less of a matter where you're forced into the situation, but it doesn't mean you can't choose to pursue a person that way. For example, I had this acquaintance from back in college who personally, if I had to be honest, I didn't like him too much. He had a strong personality, kind of cocky, very much got the attention of the ladies, and I just didn't rub well with him. But props to him along the way. I mean, I matured as well throughout the years of college, and he matured significantly. Met this gal, great gal. He, when he graduated, went to North Carolina, I believe, to ask for her hand in marriage from the father. Or no, not hand in marriage, to begin courtship. And it was understood that he was going to stay there for 2 weeks if he was accepted, if the father was to accept.
Wow.
And of course, this was already anticipated. The father knew. The father, I don't know if that's what he was expecting as well, to be asked before he allowed dating, or the courting, or if, I don't know if, I'm assuming he knew ahead of time. So he stayed for 2 weeks for the sake of getting to know the family, because it was so important to him, because you're marrying the family as well. And you want to, obviously, if your future wife's dearest thing to her heart is, yes, you, but also her family, then you would want to be a part of that as well. So
yeah,
props to my boy from back in the day.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Yes.
And dude, this is the entertaining part where people could laugh at us. I would ask, what is one of your worst dates? And I'll go first because I think mine is mild. Okay, I can honestly say I haven't had horrendous dates. I admit that I'm picky, and maybe that saved me from horrible dates. But for me, I mean, one of the more funnier ones is met a gal through an app, Christian app, dating app, meet up at Olive Garden. We're having a good time. And because we're having a good time, I suggest, hey, let's go to the movie. There's this, let's go to the movies. And she says, excitedly, she says yes. We go to the movies. The options are Iron Man 2 or The Artist, which was a silent film that I had no idea what it was about. Of course, I want to see freaking Iron Man. And I was trying to push her towards that direction, but she said, no, let's see The Artist. So freaking movie prices, they're going up. In the city, they're like $20 sometimes. So $40 for this movie. Such a complainer. And and we're in there, and dude, like 1/3 through the movie, I'm like really enjoying myself. This is a silent film. They haven't done this in a while. It has John Goodman in it, The Artist, where it's some the plot is it's some movie man who happens to meet a gal along the way, but he's married and he's struggling between this romance that he may have with this side chick, and he's realizing that as she's getting more famous, he's actually losing celebrity status. So that was interesting. Halfway through, she looks to me and she's like, I don't like this movie anymore. Do you want to go? And I look at her. Honestly, I said, I paid for this.
You told her that?
No, I didn't say that. Of course I wanted
money for this. I'm not going to go anywhere, especially if they're $20 a piece.
And dude, I was enjoying the movie. I really was. I was like, wow, this is pretty impressive. And she stuck it out. I could totally tell she was viscerally like upset with me. You know how somebody could be pissed off at you next to you? That's how I felt.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean that's nothing, right? That's not a horrible worst date, but I think you tell me yours.
I think you and I have been pretty fortunate to not have the worst dates in the world. One of my worst experience was not even it was sheer embarrassment. So this is my thing. I tend to like more modest women. Women who dress a little more modest, who, there's a way of dressing attractive, without having to like be revealing and things like that. So I ended up meeting this girl. I used to teach, and I would always stop in at this Subway, and I caught the eye of the girl in the back. So we started talking, and I take her out, and it was a little interesting because she was an Indian girl, so she had a little bit of that accent. The cultural norms were a little bit different between us, and we ended up going out to dinner at this restaurant where it was pretty filled, and I remember picking her up, and the girl had very little on. Like she was dressed very skimpy. I'm like, all right, this is for the way I like living my life. This is not something I would want to bring home to mom, but hey, we're here. Why not? Let's keep going. So we're going, we show up to the restaurant and we sit down, and one of the biggest turnoffs and tells of a person, I would say, is how they treat the server. And
Huge.
Oh my goodness, this girl was rude to the server. She wouldn't look up at this girl. I think she dropped some water or something, and she's like, "Oh, can you like pick it up?" Like almost like that, and basically treat her like a second-class citizen. And I'm like, "What is this girl doing?" I remember looking up at the server, and I'm like, "I'm really sorry." Like I trying to make up for it. And the girl was super nice. She was super kind, and she felt bad though, because the girl I was on a date with wouldn't even look up at this girl. And I'm over here, smiling, making eye contact, and she's kind of like looking at me like, "Why are you even with this girl?" And that was, I guess that was the biggest thing for me. I was stupid to stick around, and I stuck around for like another month of dating her. She eventually became this very clingy person who, one of the last times that I saw her, she, I kid you not, knelt in front of me while we were sitting on the couch, held my hands, looked me in the eye and said, "I need you." And in my head, I'm thinking, I don't even know you. I've only dated you for like a month. This lady was clingy. So I guess this isn't just a date, but a horrible relationship. And what ended up happening was she wanted to know where I was every moment of the day. And eventually it turned into, I just need a day to just to breathe. And I told her that, and she did not take it too well. Well, she gave me the day. The next day, she calls me and says, "Hey, how are you?" I'm like, "I'm good." "Good." "Why are you ignoring me?" And no, going off on me. And I'm like, that's it. I'm done. And I broke it off with her. But that date was miserable, and it was an eventual telltale sign of the kind of person that she was.
Oh, wow. Wow. You know what I'm most surprised is that there's a gal here who voiced her needs, her concerns, her desire for security and safety, and that's how you treated her. I am so disappointed, Chulo.
You are appalled.
I'm appalled.
Yeah, dude. I remember just seeing exactly. Yeah.
I'm appalled. Oh my gosh.
You don't understand, dude. This woman was like trying to take me to India, and I think she was trying to harvest my organs. I'm pretty sure, because she told me that her dad was going to pay for a flight for us to go to India, and I'm like, that's not going to happen. I've only known you for a month. You're trying to take me in another month. That's not going to happen. I don't want to wake up in a bathtub with organs missing, all because I fell for a girl who didn't even know how to be kind to a waitress. That's not going to happen.
Well, all things to learn from, right?
Exactly.
So, my friend, here's one thing you don't have to deal with so much anymore. I mean, I would say that dating as a married man, you could probably write a book on it. Yep. There probably is a book on it. If not, you should write one. But the struggles of dating today, would you want to be in that circumstance again?
Let me tell you one thing. One of the things that I am so happy, and I thank God every day, is the fact that I'm not in the dating world anymore. It was miserable, but man, I look at some of the situations nowadays, like I want nothing to do with this.
Dude, you ever been ghosted?
Yes, plenty of times. Dude, dating apps are the worst. I tried dating apps for a while. I'm close to my sister, and we talk about dating and stuff, and she tells me about the many hits and connections she gets with like just tons and tons of guys. I'm over here and I'm like swiping on girls, and I get like one, if that, and this is like months of doing this. It's like, yeah, this is not a thing.
Yeah. It's always different with different contexts for everybody. But yeah, ghosting sucks. I was talking to this gal from the Facebook dating app because it's so easy to create one there. Most people have Facebook. And she was a country girl. We talked literally like 5 times, hour-long conversations, mainly when I was in the evening while I was smoking my cigar in the front porch. I have plenty of time then. And we got good conversation out of it. And then we set up a day to meet up. The morning of, I messaged her to clear out some details, and no response. The evening came, no response, even though I set the follow up. And then the following day, I just said, hey, so hoping you're okay. Maybe something wrong happened. The weekend came, and then I, at this point, I'm a big boy now. Then again, I've never really retaliated if this happened to me in the past. I just said, hey, it seems like you're ghosting me. I'm totally confused as to why you are doing this, but good luck in life. I'm pretty sure I said that. Yeah. So yeah, it happens for the most weird reasons. Maybe she did freak out because she was putting herself out there again. I don't know. But ghosting sucks.
Yeah.
Ghosting sucks.
Yeah.
Do you come across these two categories and notice the two unique descriptive words that I'm about to say? Bitter men and jaded women. Bitter men towards the dating scene and jaded women towards the dating scene.
You're asking if I see a difference between them?
Have you encountered this?
Yes, absolutely. I think
I know of somebody specifically. I'm not gonna bring it up. Okay, you talk. Go ahead. You talk. Somebody specifically that you know
of bitter.
That is jaded. A jaded woman.
Oh, gosh. So I'm thinking one specific person who I don't. Okay, the majority. I'm not even going to bring up one person. I know a few of them because, especially in the dating Catholic world, there are so many single girls who are in their late 20s, coming into their 30s, that are, desperate. They're getting to the point where they're like, I should already be married by now. Where are all these men? And they trash on men. Men don't know how to step up. Men don't do this. Men don't do that. And it's like, yeah, that's. I kind of agree. Some of these guys don't have the best idea of what dating is. A lot of these guys are extremely awkward and they don't know how to take care of themselves. But at the same time, it's like, what are you doing to try to make yourself a better person to be in the dating world? You bring that up, oh, you're completely shut down. You're patronizing them. You are being, and they start getting into their rants. But anyways, there are so many jaded women out there, but it's on the opposite end too. There's a bunch of bitter men who I don't think they've learned how to work on themselves and so now that they're trying to actually date, they don't know what they're doing. And then these girls who are already super bitter at men, it kind of just continues a cycle.
Yeah. But I would also say that those women, or a lot of those women, also don't change their own habits when they accept the pursuit of men.
Yeah, I think
if you tend to get the same results from certain type of men, then why are you still seeing them?
Yeah.
You're not going to get different results all of a sudden for seeing the same type of men.
And I think a lot of these women want traditional gender roles without being a traditional gender role woman. They want to be the strong, independent female, but they expect the man to be the gentleman and expect them to be treated as such. It's like it doesn't work.
Dude, I'm going to write that down. That you just blew my mind right there. And the reason why I'm seeing that, not only in the world of traditional or religious people, but even secular women, a lot of TikTokers, females, I just saw an athletic girl say, why won't good men date me? They won't even ask me out. And she was an attractive, physically fit woman. Yes, she had biceps.
Did she have a septum ring? And her
No.
Okay.
No. She actually looked pretty normal. And she's saying she had a heart-to-heart talk with her father, and her father, from an old school male, he said, honey, if you're trying to attract a male, these features that you have aren't necessarily things that catch their eye. You don't come off as feminine. Now, I totally women, please don't hate me. Like of course, a muscular or athletically fit looking gal is attractive to certain men, but what are features that really catch the eye of men are your feminine beauty and what's unique about you. So she was venting, and then she was coming to accept her father's advice of, I need to pursue how to portray myself as to what would attract the man that I want.
Are you familiar with this new term, soft girl or something like that? It's a new.
I literally just heard it. What does it mean?
It basically means it's these Gen Zers who have rediscovered femininity. It's basically what it is. But they're like, I don't want to be a strong, independent female that has a career. I want to be at home taking care of my husband and just being able to take care of myself and do like face masks and doing my nails and stuff like that. They just rediscovered femininity. That's all it was. So,
well, I wouldn't describe that as femininity, but like an old school lifestyle of
fair
women.
Enough. Yeah, it's the traditional gender roles of the woman being at home, the man going out and being the breadwinner and taking care of the woman. And it's like, and it's a soft girl energy. What's the term of it? I forget.
But dude, that soft girl title, and I would even try to ask you to clarify some of the verbiage you just said, because I would disagree if we were to say go home, paint your nails, and raise kids and be at the house. Like, to be a house woman, to be the woman of the house, it's more than a full-time job.
Oh yeah,
with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 kids. Like, that is a baller feat.
Yeah.
And who tends to do it best are the people who have those natural gifts, those natural traits for it.
Yeah.
So, and it happens, women tend to be the more nurtured, they have a nurturing side to them.
Well, the fact that feminism has degraded being a stay-at-home mom to make it look like it's like the most miserable thing in the world and it's useless. It to me, it's just the weirdest thing. And so this whole soft girl trend coming back and rediscovering it, there's going to be a lot of hard work that they're going to rediscover, but it's not. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't come with any merit.
Okay, let's take a step back. Again, clarification here, because we'll have a broad audience. Feminism. Are you for women voting?
So I will say this.
Are you for women voting?
I am for women. Yes, I am for women voting. I will say.
Are you for women having ownership of property?
Of course. So
okay. That's what the feminist movement. Some of the things that they fought for.
Agreed. So this is my thing. First wave feminism is different from third wave feminism. Third wave feminism of what's going on today and post, or maybe fourth wave. I don't know what the current wave is, but they're fighting for different things. First wave feminism had merits, I would say, in terms of women voting, owning property, things like that. Nowadays, it's not about women's equality to men. It's about hashtag destroying the patriarchy and
it's a power struggle.
It's a power struggle. It's trying to be them trying to take on masculine roles and hating men. My wife and I are watching the show. It's called Squid Games. The challenge, right? So like the Korean game that where people go, they do these kids games and they die and then they give them like millions of dollars. But there's like the reality show version they just dropped. So my wife and I are watching it, and there's a woman on there, and she's like, they're creating alliances and groups, this and that, and a lady's on there, and she's like, I see all, we're creating alliances here. There's women, we're getting together, but then across the room I see a group of men. And I just hate that. I hate when men come together. And I'm like, can you imagine if the roles were reversed? Just like, there's no way anybody would have been like, this is acceptable. Like, no, it's like to say, oh, I see a bunch of women getting together. I hate them because women, the way they are when they get together, it's like, that's so horrible. And this is what third wave feminism has created, is a hatred for men. And I think the whole idea of battle of the sexes going against each other has been detrimental to our society, especially when you're pitting men against women. And the common and feminine third wave feminist talking points are, we don't need men. The world would be better if without men in the society. And then you have the opposite. You have people like, I would say, Fresh and Fit, who are very anti-women in the sense of, we need to keep them down and we can use them however we want.
They build up men, but at the expense of women.
Exactly.
But dude, what I mean, let me react to what you just said. Let me be honest with you. Now you're my friend, right?
Of
You're my
course,
friend,
you can be
right?
blunt with me.
All right, bro. Um, all of a sudden, when the pants are in somebody else, and they have maybe a difference of opinion, all of a sudden you get all worked up. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
mean,
I'm human. Yeah, you're right. I do get worked
I
up.
think, I think you need to take a little step back. You know, let the ladies have a little fun here and there. Okay. All right, bro. Um, so yes, I agree with it being, let's just call it a post-feminist society where it's becoming more of a struggle than equality. So we talked about jaded women, we are talking about jaded women who have put their best foot forward in life in the dating scene, not had good experiences, and then they become jaded. It makes sense. Of course, it could be jaded men as well, but I would attribute jaded more so towards women that I've met in the dating scene or talked about the dating scene. For men, now this is funny. I literally just had a conversation with a buddy of mine who I can call a buddy now. Met him, my local area, not affiliated with necessarily my network of friends. And as we were at the bar on a Tuesday evening talking about dating, and I saw his face and body viscerally get upset about how women today are doing men wrong.
Huh.
And he's going, his blood is boiling. No, I hope if he hears I just want to say, if he hears this video, I just want to say it's okay. Like, I know where you're coming from. I've been there as well. And I had to ask him. I was like, dude, what happened to you? Like, what happened to you in the past? And he didn't get it. He didn't understand the question at first. I was like, no.
Who hurt you, bro? Who hurt you, bro?
Yes. Who hurt you? Who hurt you? And then, boom, that's when he took a pause and he talked about one of his relationships that hurt him. And I will go into the details because I'm not identifying him. And if he ever watches this, and by all means, I hope you're okay with it. He was cheated on.
Yeah.
He was cheated on. Of course, dude. If that happened to me, I'd be bitter. I'd be very bitter. I'd be so bitter.
Yeah.
And it would remind me of the movie Hitch, where you would be hurt and you become so bitter that you justify that I'm going to do this to somebody else now.
Yeah.
I'll never be hurt again, and it's now okay for me to do this to somebody else.
Yeah. I think,
isn't that horrible? Isn't that a horrible cyclical disease?
I think that is the root cause of jaded women and bitter men. That is the root cause. They got hurt and they immediately slapped the label of all women are like this. And I think that is dangerous when you don't take individuals for who they are.
Yeah, but dude, all hope is not lost because for some reason we still want to be with somebody. A national survey from Rutgers University says 94% of singles nationally in the U.S. still say they want to get married, keyword here, to their soulmate. Isn't that funny? We've come so far. We've lost such traditional roles and expectations, but we're willing to still say we want to marry our soulmate. I would even go as far, I'm just winging it here, I would even go as far as saying maybe there's something innate within us that orients us towards wanting to be with that forever someone.
Yeah, I completely agree. Actually, my wife and I were talking about this, and oh man, the clothes is coming off. Okay, can we get a close up on Papi over here?
Well, halfway through the day, you got to get comfortable. Maybe you want to dance. Maybe you want to. Yeah.
Well, so I was having this conversation with her, and we were talking about divorced people one specific person who divorced his wife and left the wife, and that this person is now seeking out their soulmate, created a family, all this, but now is looking for their soulmate. And I think what people are looking for is the romanticized version, like I had mentioned earlier, of what a relationship is, because we think of in if our soulmate is going to be with us, the hardships are not going to be as hard, and there's not going to be as much drama. And whenever we have disagreements, they might be slight disagreements, but they're not going to be bitter disagreements. And my wife was also giving advice to a friend of hers. The friend was saying like, "Oh yeah, I think I don't know. I think I'm gonna break up with this person because the honeymoon phase is over, and I think it's over." And my wife said, "You know, honeymoon phases come and go." It's like, and she told this person, "You know, my husband and I have gone in and out of honeymoon phases. There's times when things are really good, and there's other things where it's kind of dry. But that doesn't mean that the fire is gone. That doesn't mean that we're no longer soulmates. It just means that you're going through the ebbs and flows of life." And I think that's one of the problems with looking for their soulmate. So if you were to look at that study that you mentioned and talk to those people, and I dig a little bit deeper. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean your soulmate? You're curious how old you are first. How many times have you dated people? And have you ever dated someone who you thought, "Ooh, this person could be my soulmate"? And if it didn't work out, why not? What was the issue? Did it just kind of fizzle out? Did you continue to fight for it? Did you wait for the ebbs and flows to go back from a low to an up? I mean, what was it? So I think you're right. I think that study's right when thinking that people still want their soulmate, but the question is, what do we mean by soulmate? And I'll end this on a question for you. Do you believe that we have a one specific soulmate?
Yes. Because if I were to say no, then this is how my wedding vows would go. Let's say it's the priest or the reverend or the judge who's sealing the deal between us. If I were to say no, this is how the verbiage would go. Do you promise to be the lawfully wedded wife and husband to each other that you happen to meet per your region, per the circumstances in life? Of course, you could have met many others if you were in anywhere else in the world, but it so happens to be that you guys met and you are choosing to be together forever.
But don't you see the beauty in that, Junior?
Doesn't sound romantic and real to me at all.
Okay.
The way I would say it.
Okay.
Now, do you want to say your opinion first?
Let me give my opinion, then I'll let you finish that thought. I do not think that we necessarily have one person that we are destined to be with. I believe that
you better not write any Disney movies. That's all I know.
Well, but there's a beauty to that though, because you still have the free will to choose to love someone till the very end. Like there could be multiple people that you could potentially have a very good life with multiple different people. But the question is, who do you choose to love and give all of your being to? It makes your decision to love that person, it makes your love that much more real, because you're saying, I am choosing to reject everyone else and build what you and I have, what's in front of us right now. I think there's a beauty in that. Go ahead.
I see where you're coming from. Without having to bring God or religion into it, let's just call it fate. Fate means like some type of predestined prophecy that depends on you whether you're going to honor it or not, right?
Uh-huh.
Can we agree with that?
Okay, so like repeat that one more time.
It's almost like a predestined prophecy. Prophecy still means it may not happen. Predestined means that it's meant to happen, but it still depends on your free will to act on it.
Okay.
Fate. So if I'm fated towards somebody meant for me, it isn't just a person who would be the best person that I could marry. It's somebody who was intended for me. And it could also still work within the confines of my reality. Yes, she happens to live in my region. Yes, she happens to go to my school. Yes, she happened to, let me take away the school one. She happened to be in the jury duty group that was called in my local network. And I saw her, but we didn't talk because I was chosen for the jury panel. She wasn't. She goes home. But we happen to be at the same grocery store the next day. We chat. I asked for her number. It could have been beautiful, married, many children, but no, she was already married and she has kids. But the point is, it could still work within all those what initially I proposed as like limiting factors, but rather I would say realistic factors. It could still work. She could still be meant for me, fated for me, and work within that context that I shared.
So would this woman who you met, who you ran into, who had a great conversation with, but is married, is she your soulmate?
Well, no, she's married, but
okay.
I was like diving into another thing there.
I can tell. I feel like there's a little bit of personal experience there. Tell me more, Papi.
That was just a random example, it just came to the top of my mind. But no, yeah, it literally just happened. It was pretty funny. It was pretty cute. I'm just putting myself back out there in the dating scene.
But she was married.
Okay. Yeah. But the point is, I do believe that you could be meant for somebody, and it could still work within the parameters of your life, within your context of life. While you're saying, what I think you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, you could marry many people, but you are choosing out of your own volition, your free will, to be with this person. And that could be beautiful as well, because still for the rest of your life, you will consistently, daily choose to be with her and love her.
So this is the thing.
Even after the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it should be, because a relationship, especially in marriage, has nothing to do with the honeymoon phase. You want to have honeymoon phases and times when you create good times, but the point of the relationship is not to be in the honeymoon phase, but it's to help each other grow and be better for each other and with each other. So
that would be a good question for the audience. What does marriage mean for you? Is it to just be like happy and content in life, or does it mean more than that? I think that you just touched that. That's why I had to pause you.
And I would say that life is not about taking. Life, a life that is all about fulfillment, that really does fulfill humanity, because I think this is how we're built in our very own psyche, in our own beings, is to truly giving of yourself. Like when you get married, it's not about you anymore. And I've come to realize that very quickly. And you know what? There's a beauty behind that, because it's no longer like, well, hold on a second, you're not serving me. What the heck are you doing? It's like, no. What can I do for you? And there's a fulfillment in that. There's this two podcasters or YouTubers that I really like. The guys are named. I'll mention them because I like them. I don't always agree with their opinions, but I do like them. Their name are Abba and Preach. I don't know if you ever heard of them. And Abba and Preach.
No.
Abba, he. I don't know. I don't think he's married or anything, but he has a niece, and he loves his niece, and he plays with her, and he does I think tea time with her or something like that. And I think it's beautiful because he has come to the realization that living for himself is not where fulfillment comes, but living for others and giving to others is where it's at. And he feels fulfilled.
Oh my goodness.
And that's huge. It's huge. It's especially for a man, what he does and talks about dating, reacts to dating stuff too. I think he discovered it. And a lot of people don't discover that in marriage, that's what it's about. I think, and this is just a personal opinion, I don't think there's any fact behind it, but I think that's why a lot of marriages fail, is because they don't realize that it's not about you, it's about the other person and you loving the other person.
That, and I would also add that if you want your marriage to be successful, the odds would be to your favor if you were to do that. If you were to, instead of being somebody focused on yourself, if you were to aim 100% to love the other, and hopefully vice versa, he or she tries to love you.
That is a great point that you bring out, and it has to be both ways, or else it's going to fall apart. If one person is doing it and the other is not, the person is going to be drained. Think about it like two cups, right? You're filling each other up. So one cup fills up the other, and then the other person, if they just take it and all right, keep giving me more, the other person is empty and has nothing. But if it's a mutual self-giving, you're constantly filling each other up and no one is ever left empty. It's the constant cycle of love that you're constantly filling each other up. It has to be both ways. It has to be, or else it won't. I don't think it'll work.
talking about cups, you and I both know that one study that says couples that drink together stay together, right?
Never heard that, but I'm okay with that. Yes.
Dude, it has like a high 95% success rate.
Okay. Good.
I'm surprised, even though we're talking about this topic, that you have never heard that. I don't know if you're qualified for this topic anymore.
Maybe I'm not.
I'm sorry.
Maybe I'm not.
Well, don't worry. There is hope for you.
Well, appreciate it. I hope this ring on my finger shows that there's hope.
All right, brother. So we've talked about our experiences, what dating is, how it defines the struggles of today. Let's share with our audience just general guidelines. Again, we're no experts. I'm of a medical background. You're of a theological philosophy background. The best that we can grasp at is just our personal experiences and perhaps some of the wisdom we've heard along the way, right?
Yeah.
So these are just general guidelines. And I would like to say, how do you set yourself up for success in the dating world? What did we do today, you and I? We dressed up for the occasion. I just took my suit coat off. You're still wearing yours. We tried to put our best foot forward. I mean, this is the freaking Papi and Chulo show. I'm Papi, and you're
Chulo.
Chulo. All right? For whoever doesn't know, Papi in the Spanish world and Chulo in the Spanish world, it could be a very endearing term. Your mothers can say it to you. Ay, que chulo. My mother used to say that to me anytime I dressed up, dude. Oh my goodness, I just remember that right now. My mother, who passed away, she's in heaven. She used to say that to me anytime I dressed up for Sunday Mass. Wow. Ay, que chulo. She literally always used to say that. And then, of course, you've heard in the movies, ay, papi. You know, it could be a very sexual innuendo, but it could also mean papi. My dad calls me papi, you know, as a word, a term of endearment, you know. So when we say papi and chulo, that's what we're referring to, ladies and gentlemen. Dress for the occasion, put your best foot forward, you know. And another thing that I would say, just for insight, is if you feel like it's not working for you, take a step back and reassess yourself. Ask yourself, like we were talking about earlier, am I doing the same things but expecting different results? Am I doing the same thing but expecting different results? And then along with that, I would say this is more so meant for women. Am I allowing somebody else to enter my heart and I'm expecting different results? I would more so say specifically, am I allowing somebody to weasel themselves into my heart and I'm expecting like a better man? No, of course, it doesn't work. So you have to be willing to break these bad cyclical patterns.
Yeah. I would say practice the virtues that you would want in a person that you want to date and be with. If you want somebody who's patient, work on your patience. If you want somebody who dresses well and takes care of themselves, you do the same thing. You have to uphold the same standard that you're looking for in another person. And if you don't do that, then why do you expect to get steak when you're only offering potato chips and a cheap hot dog? You know, it's like,
wow, way to reduce people to just pieces of meat, there, Chula.
But you get what I'm saying. Like if you're gonna get
no, I don't.
If you're
I just totally disagree.
You do you really? If you expect high quality from another person, you should also be giving high quality back. And I think that's necessary, because if you're not doing that, then why do you deserve somebody of high quality, of high caliber? You should be working on yourself to do the same thing.
Yes. The way I heard it phrased was, be the person that the person you want is looking for.
There you go.
Become the person that the person you want is looking for.
Mic drop. Just on that.
Mic drop. We need to be willing to acknowledge where we're at. And one thing that we may be all at is that we have this love is blind syndrome. We meet somebody, we hit it off, and then all our rationality, all our standards just escape. We become too forgiving of the other in their vices. We become too blind to our standards that we had, and we allow this guy or gal to like step all over that, sometimes all over us, and we still go along for the ride. Like, why do we do that? But we do. Have you done that?
I am living proof of that, because I let a woman string me on for 2 years after she had broken up with me to use me as a crutch whenever she felt down. And I'd always told myself I'm never going to allow myself to be that person. And I allowed myself to be that person for 2 years after we broke up. So no, I think you're absolutely right. You let things slide because you have created this emotional attachment with someone.
What's a powerful word just in life in general, but definitely applies to the dating scene? Do you know where I'm going with this? A powerful word especially for a woman to know.
I don't know if I know where you're going.
The word is no, or no thank you. Okay? The power to say no. It is important for you to say no at times. Also important to know how to say no. If you wanted to be respectful and courteous, you appreciate the gesture that it takes a lot of courage for a man to ask you out or try to start a conversation, even if it's at a bar. And then, you could know how to say no. You could know the importance of saying no. But do you have the willpower to say no? I literally just had this conversation with a friend of mine. We went out as a group to a Latin club. And for some reason, we happened to have like deep intellectual conversation about the dating scene. It was pretty funny. And we talked about how she went through different phases of saying no, how at one point she found it super hard to say no because she wanted to be nice. She used to hate hurting men's feelings. What a nice gal, you would think. But because of that, it misled certain men. It misled even the bad men who were just trying to get into your pants. Well, if you don't say no, then they're still thinking game's on. But if it's a good man and you don't say no, then he still thinks, okay, I still have a shot here. So it is very important to know how to say no.
Yeah. The most detrimental word that I hated when being led on by this girl was whenever I would want a decision, the answer that she always gave was, I don't know. I don't know yet. Maybe I want to date you. Maybe I don't. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go visit you and stay with you at your place and treat you like we're dating. And then maybe afterwards, I'll let you know if I want to date you or not. And there I would go like, oh, okay, great. That works. And then after, like, so what do you say? Well, I still don't know. And it went on for 2 years.
You know what that would cause me to be? It would cause me to be a very bitter man.
Yeah. I became, Hence what? Hence you think I'm bitter?
No. Hence what we were talking about before.
Yes, agreed.
Now, whether you were bitter or not, I mean, every man reacts differently. You were definitely hurt by it. That's in prior shows. We talked about how we met each other.
Yeah, I gave up on life from there. And I was like, I just didn't care anymore. And I started ballooning up, gaining more weight, just only started going after what gave physical pleasure, which was mainly food. Just started, eating myself away. And stopped working out. So
it is quite okay for us to expect a stable level of mental and emotional health from the other person. And as I was preparing this template, I heard it from various other videos or things I read, and I was like, wow, why is it that this is like perking my interest right now? Unfortunately, I mean, there's always been mental health issues throughout time, But currently, I would say that we have a very understanding society throughout all levels, even the old school people that used to be very judgmental. You know why they're being forced to like accept it now? It's because they have children that deal with mental health issues. So you could deny it all you want, buddy. And you could blame your kids all you want for being their own cause of their own problems. But unfortunately, along the way, they have not developed this mental health or emotional unhealthy lifestyle and living or whatever perspective. So it exists. But my point is, I find people to be too forgiving or too accepting of an unstable person. Unstable. If you're unstable, and my standard is to meet somebody who is stable, it is okay for me to say, you're a great person. I really wish the best for you. But no thanks. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. And the problem is when you create emotional attachments, it becomes even more difficult, like you had mentioned, to say no to that person. That's why I think the dating phase is important, to try to root out as much as possible people who you see as unstable. The only problem is that some people are very good at hiding how unstable they are. That's a huge issue.
I've heard of people who go out on dates and that's what they share, that they're dealing with this mental health issue. And it tends to be the women who they want to fix things. You know, that's funny, even though it's men who want to fix things, but women tend to be so forgiving. And we go through we're culturally in a phase where we want to be so accepting and acknowledging of this group of people that exists that you become blind to it. Blind, maybe your expectations, your standards that you had, you become too permitting of it.
I grew up with this girl who was dating a guy for a very long time through high school. And I remember after we were high school, I think we were around 19, I said, why are you still with this dude? She's like, well, I know he's good. And I know if I stick around, I know I can fix him. It's like, that's not a good way of doing it. Do you want to know what ended up happening?
What?
She ended up getting pregnant and had a kid with this guy. And one day she comes home and finds all of the furniture of her house, which she mainly bought, was gone. The guy ended up selling a bunch of the stuff to buy drugs. Yeah, so all the belongings of their baby daughter, of their house, their couches, their furniture, just like all sorts of stuff gone because he wanted to go out and buy drugs. And then, she ended up not fixing the guy. Who would have thought? It only took about 20 years for her to realize this.
That makes sense because it goes along with the famous saying of what you see is what you get.
Yep.
What you see is what you get. If I had to say, we had to summarize this section of our talk for dating, that would be it. What you see is what you get.
Yep.
Yes. Yes and yes. You know, there's so much that I wrote and that I would love to talk about, but we just don't have the time, Chulo.
We'll have to make another day where we do Dating 102. Who knows?
Yeah, Dating 102.
Yeah.
Tell me, dating is beautiful. Dating is good. Dating is meant for you to find out who would be a compatible person.
Yep.
I've had incredible dates. I've even had dates. I mean, yes, there's those dates where you were developing feelings for each other and then you or her chose, okay, I'm not going to pursue this, and then things turn sour. That happens. You can't control how that person is going to react towards your no.
Yeah.
You could only react. You could only control you. Have I been a person who didn't take a no well? Yes. I've been a person who didn't take, and it wasn't maybe even out of retaliation. Maybe I saw her in the future and then I just didn't know how to act.
Yeah.
And I acted weird. It happens. You know, move on, right?
Yep.
All you can control is how you act. Dating is a beautiful thing. Do not become a hopeless romantic. Become a hopeful romantic, And that applies whether you're single, in a committed relationship, in a situationship. No, don't be in a situationship. Be in either a committed relationship or a marriage. Always aiming for something better. These things that we do in life should be something that brings us hope. So, I'm going to share one of my best experiences in a date. Obviously didn't lead anywhere, but it was still an incredible relationship, an incredible experience. And as you think of one of yourself, so I happened to be in Hawaii for a travel nursing gig. And along the way, I met so many awesome people, and some of them were gals. One of them, I hit it off so well. I asked her out. We spent half a day together. I think we did lunch, then we went to the arcade, and then we got coffee and we went for a walk. We had so much fun. We were like two kids just having fun, like two kids from a street block having fun. Towards the end of it, in a very authentic and sincere reaction, I think I asked her, like, are you having fun? And she responds, you know me more than my long-term boyfriend that I dated for years knows me.
Wow.
In that one date.
Wow.
Now, of course, it's an incredible compliment to me, but I also felt super sad for her because that's unfortunate. Like, that's something we're losing. As I assessed after the fact, I was like, well, what was it that I was doing so unique that, like, she felt that way? I think I was just pursuing to get to know her. I was being sincere. I wasn't in the usury mindset. Unfortunately, yes, men, we are such objectifiers that we may do that to women as well. But I didn't do that with her. I wanted to enjoy her company. I wanted to respect and value her for her. We just had a blast. We were kids together having fun. You know me more than my long-term boyfriend did. So that is what I would say was one of my best dates. Now, nothing happened after the fact. She's happily married now. I think she's expecting from what I saw on the Facebook.
Nice.
Which is great. So that's for me. How about you? One of your best dates?
Yeah, I would say there was a girl that I took on a few dates when I was in college. Took her out to a few different places throughout Pittsburgh. We went to the tree lighting ceremony in Pittsburgh, right, around December time. But it was very, very, like a very simple time. Just going out and having fun, walking around the market square, going out to Pittsburgh to go to the Cheesecake Factory just to eat a piece of cheesecake, and just like these simple adventures of getting to know each other. Yeah, it felt very, I don't know. It was a good time. It was a good time, and we felt like you mentioned, we felt like kids just having fun. And I think that right there is finding the innocence and the joy of having a simple, good time without any crazy expectations and just being with each other. I think, yeah.
Hey, while we're talking about this, I really want to share this. You know what my superpower is in the dating scene?
Apart from your suave good looks?
I was going to put the whole thing back on me, but my superpower, and it literally just popped up last night in a conversation while I was dancing with a good friend. One thing I noticed about this friend that I was dancing with from the salsa dancing scene, I said, wow, you really smile authentically all the time. like, does your, that I know that normally comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether it mainly comes from your family upbringing. We tend to be products of our background.
Of course. Yeah.
We're not confined to it, but we tend to, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, she says she has a good family structure, and they share similar qualities. And then I said, yeah, as I think about it, I would say that I get my sense of humor, my childlike sense of humor, where it's just like I'm being like a kid, like just having fun with somebody, from my family. And I really appreciate that my family and I have that. My brother's the same way. My brother's the same way. My dad and my stepmom as well. And my mom was the same way. She in heaven now, So awesome. And I love that I could share that. Like, and I totally bring it up when I go out on dates. And I would say that totally catches off guard a lot of women who are unfamiliar with that. For the women who are unfamiliar with that, it tends not to work out, because if they're not really childlike in their humor, I can't always serve that if like you're not childlike in your humor. Yeah, my friend.
All right, good.
Thank you for this beautiful date.
Thank you.
That you and I had. Cling. Till the next Dating 102 episode. This is Papi and
Chulo.
Thank you for the Papi and Chulo show. We will see you next time.
On to the next.